Recording in progress. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Good, Salene. How are you
Thank
doing?
you so much for agreeing to do this in this busy Christmas week.
My pleasure.
I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So here we go. This is the first time I've ever actually been in person with somebody. It's usually just like they're in their spot. I'm in my spot. But we decided to make this happen. We live close by each other. So as you know, my name is Salene Mazer-Kramer. This is the Pivot Playbook. I'm with my friend and my guest, fellow attorney here in Pittsburgh, Andy Sykes. I'm going to just ask him to give his own bio about who he is and what he does and where you do it.
Yeah, so I'm a certified elder law attorney, and I practice in Pennsylvania. Our main office is in Pittsburgh area. This is the suburb of Mount Lebanon,
Mhm.
and we also have a satellite office in Philadelphia now, and so we're
Okay.
getting clients there as well.
Nice. What part of Philly?
Yeah, it's King of Prussia is kind of the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
Radnor,
Yeah.
Radnor Financial Center is kind of the so that's where we have our satellite office,
Awesome.
and our main office is here in Mount Lebanon.
Mhm. Awesome.
And so we do estate planning and elder law, so that's helping people with Medicaid planning, estate administration.
Mhm.
But our main emphasis is on estate planning, helping people to create custom estate plans to make
Yeah.
their families more secure.
Yes, absolutely. And he helped me out with a family issue that we had. And we're at 615 Washington Road, right on the main drag in Mount Lebanon. And I was at 603 Washington Road. That's how we, I think, first became acquainted, essentially neighbors as
Right.
Practicing attorneys. That was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that.
Time flies.
Time flies. It does. But yeah, it's always been a pleasure working with you. Andy also has adopted two children, so we share that in common, and maybe we'll get into that. I'd love to talk about that. But so what makes your practice unique, you think?
I think it's that I come from the standpoint of Medicaid planning. That's how I started in the whole area of elder law.
Mhm.
And, that's working with families that are in crisis. Somebody's in a nursing home and we're trying to protect their assets, trying to protect the spouse at home, maybe protect money for the children, something like that. And I really started noticing all of the things that were wrong with people's estate plans. Like their powers of attorney didn't have the right powers that they needed in order to, protect the assets or to do the type of planning that we'd like to do. And we noticed, other problems with other areas of, wills and that sort of things where things weren't ideal and somebody has now lost capacity, so it's a problem.
Yeah.
So when I started doing more estate planning, kind of came at it from that standpoint of you really have to make these estate plans customized for people that are going into their elder years so that you optimize all of their opportunities for protecting assets, for saving taxes, tax deferral, and growth. So I think it's that standpoint of coming at it from the idea of, we're going to optimize and customize the estate plan much more so than other firms do. That's, I think, what makes us unique.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, when my mom, we put her into assisted living 2 years ago, I think, and you came to our aid, and we appreciated that. It was very stressful.
Yeah, it's a hard time for people.
Yeah, selling my childhood home, which was difficult to do.
Yeah.
My favorite place. But tell me a little bit about yourself. So where'd you grow up?
Well, I was born in Denver and lived in California and in the Midwest. And after law school, came to Pittsburgh. So I've lived here ever since law school. So it's my adopted home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
With the high school, I graduated in Mansfield, Ohio.
Okay. All over the place.
Right. Yeah.
And where'd you go to law school?
Ohio State University Law School.
Okay. And undergrad?
Capital University in Columbus. Yes, I was in Columbus for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Going to school, working at the State House, going to law school. So
at the State House, really?
Yeah.
Where did you work there?
I worked as a legislative aide on the budget committee.
And what did you study undergrad?
Political science.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to go into politics?
Not really. I did want to work in government, and after law school, I did a clerkship for a federal judge. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, which one?
It was Judge Cohill.
In which district?
It's the U.S. district court for the Western District of
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh
Oh, the
area.
Pittsburgh one.
Yeah,
Oh,
but we did
yeah.
go up to Erie and tried some cases up in Erie
Very
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that a year-long clerkship?
It was 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
very prestigious. I did an externship too when I was in law school for a federal judge in Philly. It was interesting. It was interesting.
It's awesome to be able to see things from the judge's standpoint
Yeah.
when you're right out of law school, you know,
Yeah.
and really, sit there and learn how the judge views things. So after I did that and was in litigation, practicing in litigation
Yeah.
initially, it was really helpful to have that perspective when you're writing a brief to understand how the judge is going to view it.
Yeah, it is interesting. So you work for a firm? Like how did you get to starting your own firm?
Yeah.
Like what was your trajectory there?
Yeah. So I didn't want to go to work for a big firm, so I found like a small boutique litigation firm and worked there. And the great thing about that was that I didn't have to sit, second or third chair or anything like that. They just gave me cases. When I walked in, it was like, okay, here's 7 cases. They're all yours. Work them up. Let us know when they're ready for trial.
Yeah, right.
So I got to just jump right in.
Yeah.
And that was a great learning experience. So I worked for them for a while, and then eventually started my own practice.
Can you just put on pause? Hold on. We're gonna. Okay. All right, we're still recording. All right.
Okay. So where do you want to pick it up?
Oh, there. No, I'm not having a
Right.
Yeah.
Like I won't just jump. Jump from
There we go.
spot to another.
All right. Okay. All right. So I was talking about how you came to start your own practice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was working for a firm where they gave me a lot of responsibility and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And wanted to have my own practice. So
Yeah.
I did litigation on my own, office sharing with somebody else. So I was continuing to do litigation for a while. And since your podcast is about pivoting, that was my pivot in life was one day somebody that I was sharing office space with referred me a Medicaid case.
Okay.
And it was a case where a woman was being sued by the office of the inspector general, which is people that come after you when you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And she had sold her mother's house and kept all of the money while her mother was on Medicaid.
Oh.
Right. So, but to understand the complaint that had been filed and to understand my client's perspective, I had to learn all about Medicaid planning.
Yeah.
And so when I did, I found out that she had done something wrong and had to return the money. But what was really interesting was that if she had better advice, at that time she could have used her mother's power of attorney and gifted herself half of the money, sold the house, gifted herself half of the money, reported it, and there would have been a period of ineligibility during which she could have taken the other half of the proceeds and paid for nursing home care. So her mother would not have had any interruption in care. The state would have been happy because everything had been reported properly. And she could have kept half the proceeds. But by doing it wrong, she ended up with nothing. It was over $100,000 at that time. And but the big revelation to me was that people don't understand these rules. And if they have the understanding, if they have good knowledge and good advice, they get a so much better result than they do without it. So that's when I started offering Medicaid advice to people now that I understood the rules for this case. And after a while, then I wasn't doing litigation at all. The
Mm.
Medicaid planning had taken over the practice, and
Yeah.
we started doing estate planning, and that eventually led to where we are now.
Nice. So what year was that when you made the pivot?
Yeah, that was I think that was the year 2000.
Oh,
So
so
it's been
25
25
years.
years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So it was really a significant change in my life and in my practice.
Very cool. How long have you been practicing at that point?
Let's see. I think I'd been practicing for about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me who is an ideal client for you?
Well, if you think of populations dispersing on a bell curve, right? So like there's the high net worth people at the tail end at the
Mhm.
top, and then there's the people with very little at the bottom. So our ideal clients is like everyone in the middle, like that middle
Uh-huh.
80 to 90% kind of middle class people that are older that are interested in protecting their assets and making themselves and their clients their family more secure
Yeah.
and are open to doing the type of innovative planning that we do.
Nice. Very nice. And who doesn't want to do that? I think it's just a necessary step that everybody has to take when they're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are very cautious, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we're looking for people that are open to,
Mhm.
thinking in a new way and coming up with ways to
Mhm.
protect their assets in a proactive manner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And do you charge on a flat fee basis or is it hourly or?
For our estate planning,
Yeah.
it's flat fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Medicaid planning?
Medicaid planning is usually flat fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but you'll do wills, like if just general people need wills or trust set up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
but what we really emphasize in the state planning is the advice.
Mhm.
It's like optimizing your estate plan, right?
Okay.
From the standpoint of, have you set things up so that you can protect the most in assets?
Mhm.
Have you set it up so that you can um, optimize your tax deferral and growth of your IRA accounts
Yeah.
for yourself and for the next generation?
Right.
Have you set it up so that your kids are going to be protected? Whatever you
Mhm.
leave them, do
Yeah.
they have protection?
Mhm.
So
So if somebody, not to get into the money of it, but I'm sure like, I'm 51, I'm sure a lot of my, friends and they want to come to you. So what's the ballpark of what they need to know to set up their estate?
yeah, it's generally in the $2,000 to $8,000 range.
Mhm.
That's kind of a broad range.
Yeah.
But it can range from like very simple planning. Somebody just
Mhm.
needs, at the end of the day, really all they need is, will, power of attorney,
Yeah.
healthcare directives.
Yeah.
The people that were setting up trust during their lifetimes
Yeah.
and then trust for all of their family members and trust for their retirement accounts and all that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. It's worth the money, especially if you have a lot of assets.
A lot of value.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And okay, and can you tell me about a memorable I'm talking to the audience now because I normally don't. I don't have something here. I'm talking to the audience. Tell me about a memorable client engagement.
Okay. One that comes to mind is a married couple that came to me
Uh-huh.
maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And well, they weren't married at the time. He was a widower,
Mhm.
and I believe she was divorced. But anyway, they were an older couple that had met, and he was concerned that he felt a sense of custodianship for the money that he had gotten when his wife died. Insurance, retirement
Yeah.
accounts, all that sort of thing, and felt like that was for their children.
Yeah.
But he was in love and wanted to get married, but didn't want to open himself up to a situation where, what if my new wife needs nursing home care? Am I going to have to spend down all of these funds that I feel responsible for? And we were able to work it out with a prenuptial agreement and creating a trust for him, an asset protection trust to put, these funds into, so that after 5 years, we get past that Medicaid 5-year look back period. If his new wife needed nursing home care, those funds would not be available for that purpose.
Right.
And so I won't get into all the details of it, but long story short, we got it all to work out where they could get married and each of them be secure that their assets could go to their kids, whether anybody needed nursing home care or not.
Yeah.
And touch base with them just last summer and they're still together after all these years. So it's great to be able to make a difference in people's lives where, they found love, they want to get married, and what we do can make it all happen, make them feel secure.
I think it's really important because, I mean, given the rate of divorce, and then, you do create this estate for your kids and this, with your ex-husband, and then how do you blend that together with your new family, your new spouse? I think it's challenging.
Yeah, blended families bring challenges, but that's part of putting the puzzle pieces together and see if we can come up with a solution.
That's cool. I love that. Okay, so I want to talk about pivots. So what's a pivot moment, professional or personal, that changed the way you approach your work or your life?
Yeah, it was that one we talked about. I pivoted from doing litigation to elder law. And then the key there was recognizing the opportunity, recognizing that there was a big gap in people's knowledge and advice that they're getting about, when somebody's in a nursing home, people just have no idea that they can do something other than just spend it all down and qualify for benefits.
Right.
And so being able to recognize the opportunity and pivot makes a lot of difference. And it made a big difference to me personally at the time because my kids were small, right? And I know you do some litigation, so you understand that it can mess with your personal life. Your schedule is at the whims of the courts, and what their timeline is.
Yeah.
But when you have a more a practice devoted to planning, you can control your calendar a lot more.
Yeah.
So by doing that pivot, I was able to be home for dinner and on the weekends much more so than when I had a litigation practice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. For the non-lawyers out there, lawyers like to classify practice areas into litigation or transactional, or some are hybrid, where like bankruptcy work is in the bankruptcy court system. It can be both deal making, transactional, but it can also be bankruptcy court litigation. And so that's why I actually really like that area of law, because you get a little bit of both. But yeah, commercial litigation is not for the faint of heart, as I'm in the middle of stuff right now. It's very stressful. Christmas is in like 2 days. But it's still fun. It's all good. But yeah, it's however, it's the transactional work, though. It does lead, I think, for a better quality, but generally, not all the time, but I think generally, yeah.
I came back to litigation a little bit in later years.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
state litigation.
So I took on some will contests.
Oh, will contests.
So
yeah.
Very, very selective, just would, take on, maybe one or two at a time.
Yeah.
But, I have probably unique perspective of being somebody that has a background in litigation, but is a certified elder law attorney.
Yeah.
So I understand, when people come in to sign their wills and the documents, all these dynamics about undue influence, and whether you have capacity or not to sign documents, and the different ways it can go awry.
Right.
So having both of those perspectives I think, puts me in a unique position.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. So how do you define success at this stage in your career and in your life? And has that definition shifted over time?
Yeah, so I think, earlier on it was more about, becoming successful in your practice, or, being profitable, that sort of thing. And now I see it more about legacy, and I take what I've built up in our practice and pass that on to somebody else. So this next summer is the first time we're having a summer associate, a new attorney to come in, and somebody who's excited about going into this area. So I see it more about being successful in mentoring others and creating a legacy that somebody else can carry on. Rather than just what's in it for this calendar year.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. What lessons or perspectives have midlife and experience given you that your younger self didn't have? That's a
that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it's that as I've grown older, I've grown more closer to the ages of my clients. So when I was 25 years younger, I think I had a little bit of that imposter syndrome. Like, what right do I have to tell these much older people what they ought to be doing in their lives? But now kids are grown, they're in their 20s, so when we talk about estate planning for special needs children, that's something that I've done in my own case.
Yeah.
So I can relate to people and things that they're seeing in their lives I've gone through.
Right.
And so having that experience, and feeling like a sense of credibility
Yeah.
with clients, and just the ability to relate to them more.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. What role do purpose, connection, or community play in your happiness today?
I think connection is really important. You see that in studies, longevity studies, that
Yeah.
people that feel more
Yeah.
connected, tend to live longer and
Yes.
be happier.
Yes.
And I thought of this when you asked me to provide you some photos, for
Yeah.
our podcast.
Yeah.
One of them I sent you was my wife and me attending a Halloween event for
Yeah.
one of the local radio stations,
Yeah.
WYEP,
Yeah.
and they put on this Hellbenders Ball where local bands come in and they take on the persona of some band like the Doors or Fleetwood Mac or Joe Cocker, something like that.
Yeah.
And we have some very good local talent. And so that's a fun evening out, is to dress up for Halloween,
Yeah.
go to an event of a local station, see the local bands, the local live music, support local live music.
Yeah.
And one of the recent years when I was attending, I ran into an elder law attorney that I know, and I had no idea that he was into the same music I was. So it kind of brings it all back around.
Yes. I love asking this question. When I was in college, I took this class. It was called Creating Community. And I've just always been interested in group dynamics and leadership and community and sort of I've just always been interested in it. And I think that and I know we were kind of doing the South Hills lawyer get together years ago, this before the pandemic, which I appreciate and I value, especially as a small business owner. I mean, even just doing this kind of a Zoom, it helps me connect with other lawyers, and which is really important to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like the pandemic has really made people gun shy about doing anything, at least me personally. I love people. I'm pretty extroverted and I'm always doing business development stuff. But I'm so gun shy about it. I don't know. I'm just not as willing to go to parties or to go to events, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you find that personally, or do you find that across the board?
I think it's come back a lot. And I think that during the pandemic, people learned to use Zoom. So I remember before the pandemic, we had Zoom capabilities, and we're offering this to clients, that live in outlying communities. And not many people would take us up on it because they didn't understand the technology. Now everyone does.
Yeah.
And then I think it also led to the development of things like video podcasts like you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. There is, less of it, or maybe people have a reluctance.
Yeah.
But it's expanded onto these virtual forums where people can, connect by way of podcasts and YouTube videos and everything.
Yeah. We are sitting in his office, which is a physical office, as I said before, on Washington Road. Do you come here 5 days a week?
I do.
And you have staff here?
6 days a week sometimes.
Yeah, 6 days a week.
I don't make the staff come 6 days. Yeah, we have physical staff. So, I mean, we mentioned the pandemic. Even during the pandemic, we had an exemption because we were offering, sort of like finance services, Medicaid planning and stuff like that. So, I really enjoyed coming to the office and just having a different space to work in. So when I'm at work, I have all my, work cues around me. Now, rather than home, it's more like this is where I relax. And I enjoy having a place to go to and meet clients.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I went into the office. One question for you is, who refers you cases? Do you do how do you network? A lot of attorneys that I know listen to me that are also have their own firms. So what's been your marketing push? How do you get most of your work?
Yeah. Well, right now we're getting most of our work from doing live seminars. So that's exciting.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we have some coming up on January 6th and 7th. And, the mailings went out. We're already getting registrations even before
Okay.
Christmas, we're getting people that probably wanted, for their New Year's resolution, want to have
Yeah.
estate plans.
Right.
We do the live seminars,
Mhm.
and we get a lot of referrals from other lawyers, from financial planners, people that know that I do what I do.
Yeah.
And you talk about like local community and connections. We've been running ads in Mount Lebanon magazine. And so I think people just know us from,
Yeah.
you know, being part of the community,
Yeah.
knowing the other attorneys here, going to church in Mount Lebanon.
Yeah.
And so people, recognize me and recognize the firm. And so we try to have all of those types of connections for referrals.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Let's see. We're winding down here. What's one mistake you see people make when facing financial or professional adversity? And I think I meant to say, yeah, or personal adversity, and how can they avoid it?
Yeah, that's a really important question these days. And I think that professional and personal adversity is painful, and people tend to shy away from it or want to avoid it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's important to kind of turn toward it, because the reason you might be having some kind of setbacks or adversity might be some area of personal growth that you need to have. And this adversity is showing that to you in a very vivid fashion.
Yeah.
So if you can approach it from that standpoint of, can I face the adversity and learn something from it and grow through it, see it as a moment of, personal teaching and growth. I think that's the best way to approach it.
I'm all into this kind of content online. And I just sent it to my girlfriends, and it was just like yesterday, the day before, and it's something about adversity or something that trauma or something like that haunts you. And if you're running from it, you're constantly avoiding it. But if you face it, it can transform you, which I like. I like that concept. My friends were like, oh, it's kind of powerful. Can you give an example of your own life? You don't have to, though, but can you give an example of something that you were running from, but then you faced it?
What I thought you might have been going with this.
Yeah.
So like you see it reflected in art and culture and movies and things like that. So it reminded me of The Sixth Sense. If you remember that movie.
I remember the movie, but not well.
Yeah, the boy is tormented because he sees dead people everywhere, and it's very scary, right?
Yeah, we were talking about studying all this stuff. Yeah.
It's a horror film.
Yeah.
But the way he, I hope I don't spoil it, but the way he solves that is by, people like the dead people are reaching out to him some way. Like he can relate to them because he can see them and sense them. So he kind of turns toward them. And, there was a woman that was a girl that was, kind of abused by her mother, and it made a recording of that. And he was able to, kind of bring justice in that case. So it's a way of, so in art. Yeah, I think it's a metaphor for what we need to do personally is like these things that terrify us or we find traumatic. If you can find a way to relate to it and face the adversity, then maybe it's a way to get a different perspective on it. And find some peace and growth through it.
I love that, because I personally am going through that right now. And I think so many of my, at middle age, you start to really become reflective about limiting beliefs and things like that. So it's one of the reasons I started the podcast, because I love to talk about these things, to help people, especially, and they can passively listen to it. So like when I last year and in the recent months, I listened to tons of podcasts and content online. They have the people who created, they don't know me from that. It's anonymous. I'm listening to it, but it's helping me. It's inspiring me and motivating me to change.
Yeah, I think it's helpful when people talk about their own experiences.
Yeah.
And then you can learn something from others.
Yeah, for sure. I got another question for you. What does ethical, heart-centered leadership look like in your field?
Yeah, so in my field, I think it's always about knowing who the client is. This is a key issue in elder law is like, who is the real client? Because sometimes might be contacted by the adult child of somebody, and they come in that they're the person that's bringing you the client,
Mm-hmm.
bringing you the business, is willing to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
But you always have to remember, like, who is the real client? Who am I working for?
Yeah.
And act for that person.
Mm.
So that's sometimes, a situation where you have to have awkward um, conversations with people and say, I don't think your mother has the capacity to rewrite her will and then leave everything to you.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but you always have to know who the client is, who is the person that you're working for, and take that long perspective and make sure that you're doing the right thing for the real people who you're
I
working
love
for.
that. I love that. Okay, I've got just a few more questions. You're writing this off. I like this. I think I can't remember what I was trying to mimic with this rapid fire questioning, but tell me something people don't know about you.
Before the pandemic, I studied improv
I love
for a
that. I
number of
forgot that part.
years,
Yeah.
and that was a fun experience. And it was also something that taught me more about like being in the moment with
Yeah.
clients and
Yeah.
listening,
Right.
and really into people in a different way.
I love that. That's awesome. What do you do in your free time? What brings you peace or joy?
I like being outdoors, whether it's sitting on the deck in the summertime,
Mhm.
or over Thanksgiving we were in Florida and went on this like Audubon Society
Mhm.
nature walk,
Yeah.
bird watching kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I
Yeah.
sent you some pictures of that too.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool. All right, we're gonna put that in the show notes. Um, and I already asked you where you went to law school. Do you have a favorite Netflix or streaming show?
I really like The Crown, and I
Oh,
watched that with my wife. We're
yeah.
we're, we're watching it for the second time,
Oh, wow.
but it's ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. But they have such a great way of finding the story,
Mm,
in each of their episodes, finding the
mm,
way to make it relatable. So even though it's people that are in circumstances that you can't even imagine,
mm.
somehow it's relatable and you can see them as people and see their struggles.
Love that. I think every lawyer is a storyteller. Like I never
Yeah.
realized how much, just ever since I was a little girl, I would keep diaries and just tell stories about my own life and writing and just telling, explaining stories and life events with photography too. So I have to also I'm going to put in the show notes the photography that I did of Andy for his firm, which I literally, when I saw those images, I got the chills. That's happened maybe like 5 times. And I had done that work for about 5 years. And I love those images of you. And I felt like I really got you in those images.
So those photographs were incredible. I
Yeah.
never had anybody photograph me the way you did,
Yeah.
and they were extraordinary.
So I can't wait I'm going to put this all over with this when we publish this podcast. Um, so we were talking about the Netflix show and storytelling in The Crown. I'll have to check that out. Tell me the last song you listened to on your iPhone.
Okay. So the last song was a song called Constant Companion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by Juliana Hatfield.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a member of the Lemonheads, so this is kind of
Okay.
an indie rock
Yeah,
band.
yeah.
But she did her own stuff, and she's still around. She put out a new album in
Nice.
2025, and the song "Constant Companion" appears to be about maybe a dog that died,
Oh,
that was her constant companion,
okay.
and her memories of her dog. It's a very touching, moving song, and also very catchy.
Okay, very cool. Check it out. Last podcast or audiobook?
I listened to an audiobook. Actually, I'm still listening to it. It's called Teamwork. It was recommended by a coach of mine that I really respect, and it's about how to build effective teams at the workplace. It's by Natalie Dawson. So I've been listening to the audiobook, but it also inspired me to get the hardbound copy too,
Yeah.
to see her graphs and illustrations. But
Very cool.
it's really surprising. I didn't think I could learn anything new about, you know, building teams and having, mission statements and everything. But her perspective on there is very practical, and I think going to be very effective.
Very
So
cool.
I highly recommend Teamwork by Natalie Dawson.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've been obsessively listening to audiobooks like for 3 months now. It's so bizarre. I mean, I didn't do it for many, many years, but now instead of scrolling on anything like Instagram or whatever, I'll just go to the audiobook. But
It's a great way to consume more books because
it
you
is,
can listen while you're driving,
yeah,
while you're getting dressed in the morning, and
yeah.
get a lot more out of your day.
I do prefer to read the book though, with see the word because I learn visually. I like absorb all information visually. I've learned this about myself. I mean, I've known it, but so I prefer to read the book and listen to it at the same time. And then you can like increase the speed at which you're listening because you can read faster than you're listening to it. So there's a thing called Whisper Sync where you can buy with the Kindle and the audiobook, and it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I have done it. That's like my preferred methodology. It's a little complex, but do you have a pet?
Actually, our pet is like a wild bird, so we have this
Oh,
bird that we were feeding last summer
yeah.
out on the deck.
Uh-huh.
She's a mourning dove, and
She
we
comes
call
back.
it Daisy. Yeah, we've try to sit out there, in the evening at the same
Uh-huh.
time, like a little water bowl that birds come to. But whenever we'd be sitting out there, my wife and I would put a little bowl of sunflower seeds,
Yeah.
and mourning doves love sunflower
Oh,
seeds. So she was our pet that we didn't have to take to the vet. We didn't have to walk or
right.
take care of. But
Nice.
she would come and she would sit on the roof next door and kind of peer down at us, kind of not sure about this, and then flutter down and sit on the rail. And once she felt comfortable, then she'd get on the deck with us and eat and drink.
Very cool.
So Daisy is our
Daisy.
wild pet.
I love it. I love it. Do you have a favorite city or hidden gem that you've visited?
Yeah, so last year, my brother lives in Barcelona, so we
Mhm.
went and visited
Yeah.
Spain. And I love Barcelona. You hear a lot about that, but I
Mhm.
really thought Madrid
Mm.
was like the hidden gem
Really?
because it has, a lot of history there. They got the
Mm.
Royal Palace that you can
Mhm.
visit. But they also have, we found some great live music.
Mhm.
There was an art museum where we have like local artists showing their work
Mhm.
outside there. And we stayed at a place called the Hotel Emperador that has a great roof with
Mm.
bar. You can sit up there and have a drink. And then they
Yeah.
also have a pool,
Yeah.
but it's not a chlorine pool, it's salt water.
Oh,
And it's kind of heated by the sun and
yeah.
salt water. It's very, very different.
Very
And
cool.
Madrid, I really felt like was a hidden gem. Every day when we would go out exploring, we'd find something new.
Yeah. Very cool. We went to Spain too. I think I told you. We
Yeah.
went to Barcelona, and we listened to a flamenco dance performance.
Oh, I went to one of those too.
We went to three. I listened to the one. It was like the first thing we had done. I think we were so jet lagged. And the kids were into it too. And then I kept trying to find more because it was so good. It was so transformative. The way they were singing and the costumes and the performance was just spectacular. You know, I'm into dance.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that as long as I live. I have videos of it, and I tried to photograph it too. The lighting, it was very dark. None of the photos came out, but yeah. But we didn't make it to Madrid. I regret that. But we only had so much time because we went to Italy after we. Yeah, I want to go
Okay.
see the cousins. I've got to go see my cousins. So
Give you a reason to go back to Spain.
exactly,
Go to
exactly.
Madrid
I
next
love it. Now I'm captivated. Okay, I've got my closing reflections are about pivoting. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone at a crossroads ready for their next pivot?
Find a mentor. I think get good coaching.
Mhm.
You don't have
Yeah,
to reinvent the wheel every time, but if
exactly.
you find somebody that that you respect and that
Mhm.
has an interest in mentoring you, I
Mhm.
think that's invaluable.
I love that. Um, at the Pivot Playbook, we end each interview with four. I got these questions off of ChatGPT, by the way. You're not reinventing the
Doing
wheel.
really well.
Yeah, it just came from ChatGPT. It's really helped. Um, we end each interview with four pivots. Tell me a pivot you're most proud of.
Pivot I'm most proud of. Yeah, I think it's the pivot from litigation to planning
Yeah,
because it's helped me help a lot of people.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. A practice that keeps you grounded.
Practice that keeps me grounded. Exercise.
What kind of exercise?
Walking, running. My plan is to run a 10K next year.
Okay.
There's a race in the Pittsburgh area called the Great Race,
Yeah, the Great
and
Race.
it has a 10K. So that's
Yeah.
my goal for 2026 is to
Yeah.
run in the Great Race, run the 10K.
I signed up for a half marathon for January 10th, which I used to do them a long time ago, like 10 years ago. But then I do different things now. But But I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this after I'm done. And I've been training, but not really. I'm at 3.5 miles. So that's where I'm at. I've got, I think, 2 weeks now.
Okay.
So I'll let you know how that goes. But every time I run, my hip socket, I'm like, what is wrong? So I've been sneaking my daughter's pills. She has like meloxicam, which is like for body aches.
Mhm.
So I snuck it. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that.
I've got a long way to catch up to you. Like they're doing like 4 minutes a day of running,
That's okay though.
walking, and then 4 minutes of running. But I'm gonna build it up.
Yeah, you
over
build it
time.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. A principle that guides your decisions.
Always do the right thing.
Like it, love it. And last question. A person that has changed your trajectory.
Oh, well, that's Salene Kramer. She
I didn't
she's
say
took
I'm just
photos
kidding.
of me, and I thought, wow, these are awesome. I'm gonna put these on a dating app and see what happens. And so I did, and 3 weeks later, I had a girlfriend, and now she's my wife.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
Sorry.
I handed credit to that to Salene for doing those transformative photos that absolutely changed my life. So
I love
thank you.
that. That makes me feel so good. And I can't wait to republish those again because I do love them. Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing what you do.
Yeah, this has been good. Let's see.